Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery podcast are proud to bring you Answering the Call, the First Responder podcast. Join your hosts, Mike the Podfather and Jersey Ed, as they address the real issues in health and wellness for first responders. From physical and mental health to relationships and work-life balance, we leave no stone unturned. Answering the Call, the First Responder podcast is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, as well as iHeartRadio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery answering the call.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Answering the Call, the First Responders podcast. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles. I'm here with Jersey Ed.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Still on that porch, guys. Still doing good. Nobody tapped my shoulder yet to leave, so we're good.
Someone's going to throw a big net over you.
Yeah, they're going to drag me out. That'd be cool if they did it on camera. Like, I'll take the camera with me.
We'll set it up.
We'll do. Yeah, they're calling a police station now.
And I want to make sure that we don't forget our producer extraordinaire, director producer, and all around good guy and snappy dresser, Sweets.
Yes.
Sweets.
Right over Sweets? There. Sweets is here.
In the shadows. Making you guys look good.
You know, the best part of doing these podcasts is coming down here into Sweet Studio. You pull up and you got the flashing lights and all kinds of movie moguls coming in and out.
Right. It's amazing. I know.
It is amazing, you know.
I like the balcony.
Oh, the balcony's unbelievable.
Balcony's nice.
I was pulling in. Springsteen was pulling out.
Yep.
Gave me a wave.
The boss.
Frank Springsteen, that is. Lives down the street.
The gardener.
The gardener. But it is a Springsteen, so.
Right. Hey, we got to laugh, you know, because there's a lot of sadness going on out there right now.
Yeah,
we got to keep our first responders in the forefront of our our conversation and our thoughts and our prayers, because it's a tough time out there right now.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of laughs, John Loesch is going to be our guest. He's a really funny guy, right? All around wonderful guy. I have a good time with him. He's going to be a really good guest. I just want to let you know who's possibly coming on, if he chooses to come on. So we'll see what happens when we hit that go button for him. So
I look forward to it. You always get good guests.
Thank you, Podfather. Thank you. And I know that's written into the script up there that you say that, but I'm just kidding.
No, it's true.
If you agree with the Podfather and you think they are good guests, give us a call at 617-379-1163. That's 617-379-1163.
Great.
Or you can email us. What's the email address there, Podfather?
The email address, it slipped my mind.
Help at friendsinrecoverypodcast.com.
I should know that. Help at friendsinrecoverypodcast.com.
That's right. That's how you get a hold of all of us. You can get a hold of any of us to tell us how good the Podfather is, or
bad
request to have Sweets turn his camera on, because the last show or a few shows ago or a few weeks ago he decided not to. He turned it down.
$1 million.
$1 million.
I can write you a check. Just don't
let me tell you.
All right.
Cash.
He's a handsome
As a matter of fact, I would like $1 million worth of gold.
He wants it in gold.
I'm skipping the cash, dude. I want shiny stuff.
That's right. He wants the heavy duty, a truckload of gold.
Because there is a vault and security that is in the back of Sweet's studio that is guarded all the time there, right? Sweets?
Yep.
24/7, 365.
Yep.
We went golfing. We went golfing last week.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. And Sweets made the mistake of taking a selfie with all four of us, golfers. And one of my sisters saw the picture. And never mind, Michael, how you doing? Michael, I'm glad you're golfing. Who is that guy with the big smile and the cigar? I had to go over and throw cold water on him for Christmas.
He is a good-looking. He is a short, chubby, good-looking guy.
Yep. Right.
Or tall, handsome, good-looking guy. However you want to project them in your mind. So, Podfather, how's it going? I know the show before this we had a really good show and did a lot of talking and we got a lot of good things out there for the first responders.
Mindless talking, yeah, it was good. It's good to. I like when we have guests. I like when we have somebody on, especially somebody that's in the field. A first responder, a fireman, a policeman, a correctional officers. An EMS worker. A veteran. We've been lucky. We've had every type of guest on this show, male, woman,
including nurses, doctors,
right? Everybody. And it's really it's good because we have a variety. We don't just have the same person on, or the same ideal person on ideology of people's thoughts or what they're doing. Most people that are first responders are type A personalities, so that gives them some personality. And
absolutely,
I think a lot of them are just appreciative of life. They see the dark side of life. You go to someone's house that's burnt to the ground. I mean, just think of that. Your house is gone. Every possession you had, and then if you lost somebody in a fire, I've been to multiple deaths. I went to a fire several years before I retired. 5 young kids were killed, and I think I mentioned it before on the show. The house, the structure that was burnt, it was a 3-floor tenement, was 40 yards from the fire department. 40 yards, half a block, right next door. And the first responders that got to that fire were police officers. They were throwing people out windows. The whole house was ablaze.
Oh my God!
That was very difficult. But I think people in this field definitely appreciate life. They learn to accept life on life's terms because they see it all. They really do. And then they're there for us. When people are running out of the burning buildings, they're running in.
And we talk a lot about cops on this show, and because you're a police officer, but the firefighters are huge too. They're a big part of the community of the first responders community, EMT, everybody, nurses, whatever. I mean, it's definitely that's a job. I think I'd rather be a cop than a firefighter. I'll be honest with you.
Me too.
Me too. I mean, at least you got some protection. Those guys have to walk into a fucking building burning. I would never do that. I mean, at least if you get shot at, I can kind of hide behind a car or a tree. You're walking into a fire, man. That fire doesn't give a fuck what you are. It doesn't matter. It cares if you're a tree, a human, a chair. It's gonna burn the shit out of you and take you right down, man. Right. So I never thought about that, Podfather.
There's a city up here in Massachusetts. I think it's the 3rd largest city or the 4th largest city in the state, Worcester, Massachusetts, and they've lost multiple firemen in blazes, and I'm talking 5 in one blaze, and I think 3 in another, 2 just in another. Too. Yeah, it's horror. It's horrific. And the people of Worcester, I just hope they're as grateful. The citizens of Worcester are as grateful as they should be for having for men and women on that fire department, because they've lost some horrific fires.
Yeah,
very, very difficult.
It's been crazy. And we had, speaking of fires, remember Burn Boston Burn?
Yeah, I do.
That's a good book. Are you still reading that?
Great book. No, I finished it. A great book. Great read.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of it. So
real page turner. Not as good as Loving Lions. Close, but not as
Loving Lions. Loving Lions is good. That guy Mike Wilson.
That's a great book. Yep. That is a great book.
Did you guys read that? Yeah, I actually got an autographed copy of that book.
Did you? Do you know that guy? You know that guy, Mike Wilson?
I met him a few times.
All right. Okay. Good. Can you introduce me to him one day?
I will.
Okay, good. Speaking of introducing people, I'd like to bring in John Loesch. He's 50 years old. He's from Morristown, New Jersey. He was a volunteer firefighter on Morristown Fire Department from 1990 to 2000, and in 2001 to 2002. He was a firefighter, driver, and a training officer from 98 to 2000. He's also a person in recovery. And welcome to the show, John.
Hey, John.
Mike, hi, Ed. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. Mike, I think we say up in your neck of the woods, wicked pisser.
That's what we say. Do you watch Wicked Tuna?
Can't say I ever did that, but one of the parts of my story is I lived in Rhode Island for 9 years. So
okay.
I lived in a lovely place called The Bucket.
The Bucket, Nantucket. Yeah.
No, not that one.
No, not that one.
No, Pawtucket.
Oh, Pawtucket. That's right. Well, I gotta say, you got the pisser part down pretty good there. You sound good. Now, Morristown, New Jersey. Was that the home of Muhammad Ali at one time?
I do believe it might have been. I know he lived in Cherry Hill, a couple towns.
Cherry Hill. Yep. And
Cherry
also,
Hill,
didn't you guys have the first mall in the country? Morristown Mall, wasn't that the first mall? One of the first.
I believe it was one of the first indoors. Yeah.
Yep. I was stationed at Fort Dix for 18 months. And
okay.
Love
There you
New
go.
Jersey. Love it.
And the place was never the same after
No, it
that.
Yeah.
Podfather has some memorable moments. And real quick before we get into the interview with John, I want to encourage our listeners to go back to some of these shows. You know, it's great listening to the up in the current shows, but go back to some of these shows. Listen to that Boston Burn show. Listen to some of the other shows. You know, some of the police stories that Podfather has. We really encourage you guys to go back and listen to some of these shows if you haven't heard any. You know, I know on our other show, Podfather, we had a first responder going down to, I think he was a first responder going down to Genesis house, and he said that these podcasts got him through the flight down there and understanding recovery. So we really encourage you guys to listen to some of these shows because it could be a big help. So
Absolutely.
So John, tell us a little bit about your career as a firefighter, and you know, you heard a little intro of us. You know, I wouldn't be a firefighter. You know, I'm sure you've ran into numerous buildings. You know, and on top of it all, you're even crazier because you didn't get fucking paid for it. You were a volunteer. So
Yeah, you could say that, Ed. So my backstory with the fire department is that I was born and raised here in Morristown, and my dad joined the fire department when I was 2 years old. So you sort of want to emulate your old man growing up. When the time came, you know, when times were right in my life, I joined the fire department, put myself whole hog into it. Didn't really have a good employment situation at the time, so I was fortunate enough that I was able to respond to calls. And Morristown was a pretty fire-safe community, you know, except for the mall, which we alluded to. You know, that burned a couple times. The last big one, I was on the job at the time. That was a wonderful Christmas, 2 days before Christmas fire.
wow.
I can say I was fortunate that I only had the misfortune to run into a burning building on the job once outside of training. And there's side effects to that. Nobody running out, nobody screaming. The fire was in the attic area. And this was the first time in 8 years I ever managed to be on the NOS. With somebody backing me up. And, you know, we did our thing, and I was kneeing on the floor, you know, and all of a sudden I felt burning underneath my turnout gear. You know, it was a wonderful summer night. We're volleys and we don't wear long pants in the summer. So I get down, take my turnout pants off, and there's a solid red on both my legs between the bottom of my shorts and the top of my boots.
Wow.
I still have the war wound today. It's a nice little 1.5 inch circle on the inside of my left calf, where I got no hair. It was a nice 3rd-degree burn,
Right.
you know. And one of the side effects that I talk about was that cost me a position as a line officer, as being a lieutenant. I got all the training that I needed behind me to become a line officer. And because I listened to the doctor, because I did what I was told to do, when it came time for the next batch of line officers to come up, you know, the guy who was going to become the head of the station said to me basically, look, you know, I don't judge you for it, but the other guys feel like because of that, they don't want to follow you into a fire. And now, volunteer fire, I mean, any point in the fire service is always a ball busting place. But, you know, the volunteers take it to the extent of there's politics involved. And if we don't like you, you know, you're not a townie, you're not like came over on the Mayflower, because Morristown's a very old town. It was founded in 1682.
Wow.
So some of the people in this town literally probably came over on the Mayflower and made their way south.
And they're still living?
I'm still living here in Morristown.
No,
I don't know if they're
and
still
and the
living.
people are still living.
I don't know if the people in Mayflower are still living, but I can guarantee you some of their ancestors are still, and they're just as much of the pricks as the Pilgrims were. So, yeah, it was just, I am, honest to God, glad that I no longer run with the fire department because of the political aspect of things. One of the other parts of my story is that every Thursday night was drill night. And after drill was over, we would head to the lounge and the beer keg was open. So once I came of age, I learned how to drink beer. I actually liked it at this point. And I learned how to have 6 glasses of beer within an hour. Now, I'm fortunate that here in Morristown, most things are together. And by the way, don't let the fact that Morristown's a dry town fool you. There's liquor to be had. There's beer to be had. About 2 minutes over every border in Morristown, there is a liquor store. I'm surprised that my car made it home a couple of drill nights.
I'm sure.
Because I'm fortunate that I lived all 2 blocks away from the firehouse, and it was, you do that by memory. I'll never forget. Yeah, automatic pilot. I will never forget the night right after I got made a driver, about a month or so later, and I was 1 beer in and had half a beer, and we had a call come in, and it was determined that I should drive. Let me tell you, there is nothing like getting in the seat of an engine and driving this thing with 1,000 gallons of water. It's just about 9,000 pounds, kids, that's moving around. Driving that to the other side and other end of town for an alarm system. It's nothing, but, just the scare factor alone, you would think that would have sobered me up. Absolutely not. That was my first drinking and driving experience, to be foreshadowed by many more to come and not behind the wheel of a fire apparatus.
John, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to find out a little bit more about that and the other side, the recovery side, where everybody can, understand where you've been, and I'm going to explain how we met too, and how much service you do for us and the community. So, Podfather, go ahead.
Super. Yeah, we'll be back. This is the Podfather answering the call, First Responders podcast. We'll be right back.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Answering the call, the First Responders podcast. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles. I'm here with Jersey Ed.
Hey, guys.
Sweets,
Yep.
our producer, and John, our guest.
John Loesch from Morristown, New Jersey. Yes, yes. Right. John, welcome back to the show. And right before the break, we were talking about the addiction piece of things. We know you're a volunteer firefighter, and the addiction started kicking in. This is a health and wellness show for first responders, so we don't exclude the addiction piece. John and I were met through one of the Friends in Recovery virtual meetings that he's on almost nightly. He also does some service work for us. He hosts one of our meetings. And they're excellent meetings. Everybody loves his chairing for the meetings, and that's what recovery brings us. It brings us service work. It brings us to reach out to others. It brings us to help others who are struggling, other firefighters, other first responders, and other civilians. And John, you do help me. You run a great show, a great meeting, and I really respect your recovery. I know you haven't been around long enough, but that doesn't matter, man. When somebody has good recovery, I latch onto it, just like you, Podfather. We latch onto it and we learn from them. Doesn't matter if you have 6 months, 6 years, or 60 years. If you have something good, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
We all have today. That's all we need.
Yeah, exactly. So, John, you want to tell us a little bit about give us a little of your story, and then all the good stuff too. We want to hear that.
Oh, sure, Ed. We got plenty to share with you on that. So I alluded to the politics of the firehouse, and that alone is something triggered me one night in November of 2000. I was also the secretary for the company that I belonged to, and something was said by one of those arrogant sons of bitches you don't want to listen to, thinks he's all king shit because he's the chairman of the board of fire commissioners. And something in me just clicked and said, I've been dealing with this crap for too goddamn long. I got to leave. So that night, I turned in all my shit. I was the assistant training officer at the time. We had successfully run an in-house fire academy to get people certified who couldn't make the regular fire academy. We successfully did that with me as one of the lead instructors. And, the funny thing is after you leave, you can't go home again. When I came back onto the job later in 2001, it felt like more of a pity move, and I was back down the freaking bottom of the ladder again. Nobody wanted my help. Nobody wanted me. Not only did they not want me to lead them into a fire, there was questions of how was I going to be at the pump panel? I made the point to say to them, you don't want to follow me into a fire. I'd get killed just as easily by losing attention to what I'm doing, getting the wet on the red for you.
Now, is this due to your alcoholism?
More the isms, I would say. Less so the alcohol, less so the use of the drugs, because drugs are part of my story too. Mm-hmm. I got a knee injury at my professional job of phone company dude, and that racked my knee up pretty good. I was a heavy beer and wine drinker before I got operated on, and then the doctor gave me some Vicodin. And I tried to hold on to the threadbare idea that drugs are bad for me. Well, when the anesthesia wore off and I found myself crawling to get the Vicodin, and decided if one is good, two must be better. And then when they ran out, I said, there's got to be something that can do this without me having to try and, walk the streets of Camden, New Jersey to try and find this. And then I found hard liquor. It's funny how life circles around. My father considers himself a recovering alcoholic. He just can't drink anymore because he's diabetic. But I remember my sister's wedding and had his drink, Crown Royal on the rocks. I tasted one sip of it, thought it was paint thinner, and said, how the hell do you drink this shit? And he said to me, just the way you're holding it right now. Well, you fast forward all of about 8 years after my sister got married, and here I am, nursing the Crown Royal on the rocks. Whiskey. My soon-to-be in-laws were very good neighbors. I met my ex-wife in a firefighters group on Yahoo at the time. And I strung her along for 6 years. More because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. I am very content to stay where I am if things, to me, appear to be going okay.
Yeah.
So she one day finally just told me to shit or get off the pot. And that was in 2005. Well, here's what I'm facing. Not so much in the full-blown alcoholic aspect of things by drinking, But now all the alcoholic thinking comes into play.
Yeah.
I'm going to die alone. I don't want to die alone. I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life. I don't want to. So basically, I accepted the fact that there was a gun to my head, I felt, to get married. And so I did.
Mm-hmm.
I got engaged to her in 2006, bullied the phone company into getting me a hardship transfer up to Rhode Island because I told her, I'll do anything for you to get to be married to you, except for one thing. I'm not changing jobs because I'm not going to give up a job with the phone company where at the time I was making $32 an hour.
Mm-hmm. So this is all still in your addiction. This is the people pleasing kicking in. This is the insecurity. This is all that brings along with the addiction and the isms that you were talking about earlier. Now, fast forward a little bit to your, because we don't have too much time left here, but fast forward to the day of the turnaround. What told you that you need to recover? Why are you in 2 years into recovery?
Well, this time
that
around,
aha moment.
The aha moment this time around, and I mentioned it was this time around because I first admitted I had a problem in 2008. So I've been stringing this thing along, just like I mentioned, content with where things are for 12 years, or in this case, 11 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
Numerous relapses while I was in Rhode Island, numerous relapses after I had to move home here to New Jersey because I couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, one day, it was April 6th of 2019, I drank again. My mother was here crying. My brother came from his house in Delran to try and make sure I was okay. And I woke up on April 7th and said, I can't keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I said that a million times before, or however many, but this time it seemed to mean something.
Something just stuck. Something said, okay, I'm done with this. I'm sick of it. I think it's Podfather. I think that's that sick and tired of being sick and tired that we all experience. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, now we go forward 4 months and I can feel myself. I'm a dry drunk at this point. I'm not doing meetings. I'm not doing anything to try and maintain my recovery.
Yeah.
And when summertime rolls around, my bedroom here, I could have blackout shades, but the sun still bleeds in and gets me to wake up. So I was up early one Friday morning last August, heading to the bank, heading to the convenience store to get something. Because by this time, I've lost my license. I popped that magical DUI point in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
That was gone. The money wasn't there for me to get it back. And I've been around the hall since 2008, like I said, and it was just before 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking by, there's a church across the street from my bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I see people going into the side door. Now, I know that these people are not here for church. They're not here for some other fraternal organization. There is but one thing that this has got to be.
Yes.
And this is a 12-step meeting. I'm not sure which, but as it turned out, it was NA. Now, the entire time before, I'd done AA, and I have nothing against AA. My problem with AA is that I never worked it. That's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came into the hall of this NA meeting, that is literally a 3-minute walk from my house, I got no excuse to not go to it. I got the best hug I had gotten in a long freaking time. And I've stuck with that group ever since.
Mm-hmm.
I did what was suggested, and it's suggested in all these programs. Get a job. I took on Coffee Maker.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work. Started to contemplate doing the work. Get a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
That happened a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
When someone asked me after I was griping about the weekend I had, and they asked me, well, what does your sponsor say? Oh yeah, that thing I don't have. Well, by the end of the meeting,
sponsors are really important. John, we're gonna forward fast, real quick here because we're running out of time. The story is amazing, and I wish we could hear more of it because I know there's a lot more because you and I do a lot of talking. But the commitment that you have to our meeting, and that's all I know you by, is the commitment that you have to our meeting, our Friends in Recovery virtual meeting. If somebody doesn't show up, if we have somebody that calls out that can't run the meeting, you're there for us. You take on the chair. You have topics ready to go. You stay after the meeting to talk to other alcoholics that may be suffering still. You phone other alcoholics. You're always in addicts, and you're always there. And I like this part of your story where you changed something. AA you weren't working AA, but that's okay. You went to another fellowship, and now you're working that program. It doesn't matter what program you're working. It just matters that you're working the program, and that's the important piece of this. So John, we're gonna have to wrap it up here, but thank you so much for being a guest. I look forward to seeing you on our 7 o'clock meeting, on our virtual meetings every night. Maybe we'll get you on our other channel. If you flip the dial a little bit to the left, you can find us in Friends in Recovery, and on the Recovery podcast, and we're gonna get you over there, hear more of your story. So John Loesch from Morristown, New Jersey, a former volunteer firefighter, all around good guy. Thank you so much, John, for being on the show with us. We appreciate it.
John, I want to thank you too for your years of service, and just for coming on and doing this today. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we'd love to have you on the other show, the recovery show, because the same thing. It's just you fit right in. You're a great guy. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John.
Just say wrap up with, in recovery, you do what you're asked, and that's a good plan for life.
That's a great point. That's right.
Yeah,
Never say no.
Thanks. Thanks, John. We appreciate it. So, Podfather. So, John, I'm not just saying that because he does meetings for us.
Right.
I called him up one time.
Yep.
Yeah, I called him up one time and I said, John, I can't do the noontime meeting or whatever it was. And I said, can you get there? I'm out right now. Let me get somewhere where I can do this. And boom, man, he was on that meeting and doing it for us. This man has a really good program. He's working. So it's amazing.
Those are the people that you can rely on. And type A personality, anybody that can go into a burning building, leading the way. Knowing what could happen, that's probably easy peasy for him to run a meeting. But again, recovery is out there. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you want to get sober, we don't care what you've done, what you're doing. It's what you can do, and you can get sober, and you can get help. And you know what? It's not as hard as you think it is. You've amplified it 1,000 times harder than it actually is in your own head. Set the wheels in motion. Set the wheels in motion. Call us at that number.
Yeah, it's what is it? Hold on, I got it here. It is
that
number 379-1163, or leave us an email at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. And you know what? I know this is a first responder show, but you know what? The first responders are not immune to this disease, Podfather, as you know. And please reach out. Just because you're a strong person, you run into buildings, you carry a gun, or you're a corrections officer or a nurse or whatever it is, this disease, you don't have the muscle to fight this disease. It will fucking get you one day, guys. So please reach out. Call us on that number. Ask for the Podfather. He'll talk to you. He'll help you out. He'll get you whatever you need. So,
well, Eddie, thanks again. I just want to mention you always get these great guests, and John is no different. It's really I don't know how you do it, but you do it.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, so I don't even know what else to say. This has been a great show. This has been a good day to reminisce. It was good listening to John and where he is now and where he was, experience.
One thing I do want to tell our listeners, Podfather, we're going to take a hiatus in August. So we do encourage you guys to listen to some of the back shows while we're gone. We will be putting them up and replaying them for you guys. So look for them every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Some of the old shows will come back out after this show, and we'll see you guys in September.
We'll be back and see you in September. That was a song, I think.
Yeah, it was. See you in September.
Yeah, you got a great voice, huh?
that's my full-time career, guys. No, but anyway, thanks, Podfather. You have a great summer. Sweets, you have a wonderful summer too.
You as well. Thank you.
Yep. And I hope to be in the studio in September, guys.
Yep, Sweets is going over to Sweden for some unknown reason, but he said when he comes back, we won't even recognize him.
That's right. Big things are happening.
Big things. Is that boobs you're gonna have?
All kinds of stuff.
Come on. He's getting one boob.
Yeah.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle.
He wants to
Mush it
be in
all together.
between.
Just gonna mush it all
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
He's got a perky butt. Now he wants a perky boob.
He can't handle two.
Hey, answering the call. The First Responders Podcast.
Stay safe, everybody.
That concludes this episode of Answering the Call, the First Responder Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House for sponsoring the show and supporting first responders who are struggling with addiction and mental health. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com.